Welcome to Life, Lessons, and Laughter with your host, Glenn Ambrose.
Hey everyone, welcome to the show. So today we are talking about leveling up. Leveling up. Leveling up.
All right, now your audio levels, man. That affects.
I whispered.
Oh God. All right.
Is it okay?
No, it's fine. It's fine. So, all right, introduce the episode. Keep introducing the episode.
Okay, we're doing leveling up. I said that a bunch of times. This is as introduced as it's going to get. So we are doing leveling up. And as those of you that know me may guess, this is the second recording of the day because I'm goofier.
Yeah, and if you are also curious and watching this on Patreon, it is still freezing at my house, and Glenn is still hot and blasting air conditioning at his.
Yes.
Awesome. Cool. No big deal. Also, Merry Christmas, everybody. If you're listening to this, when it comes out, happy holidays, all of that stuff.
Yeah, happy holidays. So we're jumping right into leveling up, and I kind of want to talk about this because it's something that I'm going through. So it's personal. So basically, to kind of give a snapshot, the last 15 years, a lot has happened in my life. So there's been waking up and then seeing things completely different. And then there's been learning how to live like that and being a father and going through that process. And then like 6 years ago, my son moving in with me full time and changing that dynamic, and at the same time starting my business and learning. There was just so much to learn, so much to do, so much to get comfortable with. There's a lot, and I moved a lot. I moved 1, 2, 3, 4 times, and the last time was 1,400 miles, in the last 6 years. So, and business spaces and, all kinds of stuff. So there's been a lot going on, especially in the last 6 years. And now, I come down to Florida, get established, get my new place and get my son all set. And then it's, I kept expecting to fall back into the rhythm kind of how things were up in Rhode Island. And it's just not happening. I'm just not falling into the same rhythms. And no matter how hard I try, it's just not happening. And, so I try to, go inside and find out what's going on and navigate this consciously. And what I'm finding is that it's, everything that I've been through in the last 15 years has kind of been, I guess maybe the first 9 were one stage, and then the last 6 were another stage. And then now I'm getting into another stage. And a lot of the things that I needed to use in my past, some of that I believe has to do with masculine energy. And just kind of that stubbornness that I had left over from my previous life, and the stick-to-itiveness and the pushing through, and a lot of masculine energy and getting things done and pushing and stuff like that. That seems like it served its purpose now, and it's falling away. And the more I push, the less things work. So it's more about allowing, which I've always had a little bit of a back and forth with. I'm an action taker, so I tend to do too much and not allow enough. That's my tendency. So I'm constantly playing that. Glenn, pull back. Glenn, allow. Glenn, open up space for this stuff to come. Glenn, so I regularly have to do that. And now I think I'm just doing it to a whole new level. And I think that there's things that I leaned on to go through court struggles with my son. That takes a certain type of energy that I don't need where I'm going. I just don't need that. I think my business is the basis or the basics of my business are established. So, it's going to continue to keep expanding and growing, but the expansion and the growth is going to take a different energy than what it took to establish it and build it initially. So there's a lot of leveling up. My life is leveling up to the next stage. But to do that, I need to let go of a lot of the things that I used previously, even though they were successful in the past, because they were successful at doing different things. And those aren't the things that I'm going to be doing, So it's more ease now. There's more, like I said, allowing. So it's letting go of what no longer serves me, even though it did serve me to a point. And that takes a certain level of consciousness and understanding to do. And also comprehending where I'm going and what I need to become now. What's my, like Michael Bernard Beckwith says, like, what's my growing edge? What do I need to embody to become who I'm becoming? And really get clear on what those traits are and start to embody them more and more so I can go to that next level, so I can level up. So that's the overview. And breathe. So what do you think about all that, Ben?
I think it's great. I know that it's something that you and I have been talking about off mic, quite a bit recently, and I think it's great. You've had you've had some time for reflection and stuff that you needed to do, and that's important. And I also think that it's important to share that with your listeners, because sometimes when we listen to podcasts or we have teachers or whatever the case may be, we tend to not think of them as people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes, like, there are podcast hosts that I listen to that, you don't think of necessarily, like, what are they going through? You know what I mean? And for somebody to be a life coach and to have the platform that you do, it's nice and refreshing and hopefully helpful to the listeners to know that, there are reflection points for you. And there are times where you really have to hunker down and practice the stuff that you're preaching. So, we might talk about some stuff in this episode that we've talked about and mentioned in other episodes. It's a spiritual podcast, and there are only so many spiritual truths, as Glenn always says.
Yeah, they all overlap.
So, but I think that, and the broader, thing, leveling up is important, and it's harder, sometimes when you want to take that big step, you have to take a couple steps backward and figure out, exactly how much momentum you're going to need. And, you have to, like, size up what you're doing next.
Yeah. And you have to understand what's happening, because if I'm sitting there and I'm going, what I used to do, what I've been doing isn't working. It's not working. Well, if I just stayed there, that's frustrating, but it's about taking a step back and going, okay, wait a minute, there's nothing wrong with life, and the universe didn't break. So, like, everything's fine there. If what I'm doing isn't working, then there must be something wrong with my approach. So what's going on with my approach? Why wouldn't this work? And, that's what we need to do in our lives, is just, try to live consciously, try to put thought into what we're doing. If we try doing some things and it's not really working, just pause for a moment, take that sacred pause and just reflect, where are you? What's going on? Like, it's not about just doing and doing and doing and doing. It's about finding out where you are and, what makes sense looking at it from a larger perspective. Take a step back and go, that's what I needed to do. I needed to look back and go, at first I was like, geez, I think I'm changing. I think, it just feels like I need to be something different than I've been to some degree. And then I look back and I go, oh my God, look at the last 6 years. And I've always wanted to, I always enjoyed living in Florida. So, I accepted that I was living in Rhode Island, but there was a part of me that knew that I wasn't going to stay there. So as soon as I got to Florida, all my energy was just like, oh, okay, good, Glenn. Now you're ready. Because there was things I needed to accomplish. I needed to get back to Florida because this is where I feel comfortable, to really establish a base. I needed to finish the things. My son's almost about to turn 18. I needed to get through, he doesn't require as much of my energy anymore. There's just a lot of things that I've been working on in the last 6 years. I don't need to learn an accounting software. I don't have to learn, like what I want to do for, like what my business looks like. I've done all that. So when I started seeing that, I'm like, okay. So if I look at this in stages, I've really accomplished a bunch in the last 6 years. And I think I'm working through that. And then I started allowing myself to work through that. And once I relaxed, all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, this isn't even just the last 6 years. This is the last 15. Like that I'm transcending to take to a whole nother level. And it's exciting and it's wonderful. This is what we're supposed to be doing. We're constantly expanding. And I think we forget that with some of the teachers, the big names out there or any teacher that you might have. It's like they are expanding in one way, shape, or form or another. They're expanding. They might not talk about it. Maybe they do. I don't know. Maybe they just don't call it this, but they're leveling up too. They're expanding. They're growing. And I know that because they wouldn't be happy if they weren't, because that's our nature. It's our nature to expand and grow and become more. So that's what I'm doing, and if I look at it from that perspective, it's exciting. If I don't, and if I look at it from, a poor me perspective, like what, I can turn it. I can turn it into a negative if I wanted to. I could be like, oh, poor me. What I'm doing isn't good enough. Why isn't it? Like all that crap. I don't even like saying it because it's just foolish. But my mind wanted to go there. I wanted to get upset about this. There was a part of me that was like, geez, Glenn, when's enough going to be enough for that crap mentality? But I needed to take a step back and go, wait a minute. And then once I saw it for what it was, it's like, oh my God, this is exciting. Is it comfortable? No, it's change. Change isn't comfortable. It's uncomfortable. So if I can be comfortable being uncomfortable, which is, what I teach, then I can continue going with this and opening to it and blossom to the next stage. And that's the reality of what we're all going through,
So there's something that you just talked about, where your goal was to have this business, or your goal was to do this or to do that, or to move back to Florida someday, and it's like And the term leveling up made me think of this. It's like you're chasing something and then you get it, and then what now? You know, like what's after happily ever after? You know what I mean? You think about a goal, and then you get to that goal, and then you go somewhere else because it's not over. Life's not over. You know, you get to move back to Florida. Like, what's your life now? You know, and it literally reminds me of a video game, because I, as a child, played Super Mario Brothers, the first one, and I was never good. I never could get past the first underground level.
You couldn't level up?
I could not. So when I got a Wii, a Nintendo Wii, several years ago, I was able to download the old game on it. And I think Dave or somebody downloaded Super Mario Brothers 3. Well, it took me like a year and a half, 2 years, maybe like 5 years actually, to beat Super Mario Brothers. It's so that I didn't play it all the time. It wasn't that, but I did it, and then I finally beat it, and then it was great. And then I was like, let me try Super Mario Brothers 3. Because like my goal was only Super Mario Brothers 1, and I hated Super Mario Brothers 3.
Yeah.
I couldn't stand it. I was like, why do you fly now? Like, I didn't think the graphics were as good, which is
that
ridiculous.
was your next.
It was the next, and I hated it. And it's such a silly thing. But literally, like, thinking about it in terms of video games, I got past this thing that was a goal. Like, it was a silly goal, but it was a goal. And then I got past it, and then I felt uncomfortable in the new thing.
Yeah.
I didn't like it, you know?
Yeah,
I play sports video games. When I buy the new game, I don't like it. I don't like it's uncomfortable and I don't like it. And leveling up, you know, getting something new, going to, you know, getting that relationship that you wanted isn't necessarily what you had in your head all the time.
No, I mean,
getting that job, like...
Yeah, unconsciously we think that we're going to, you know, accomplish everything and then just like stop and everything's going to be good.
Yeah.
Like, oh, well, you know, if I had the career that I wanted, you know, then I'd be happy. And if I was in a relationship that I wanted, then I'd be happy. If I had this, then I'd be happy. No, that's not how it works. You know, happiness is not a destination. It's a means of travel. So it's the way, you know, and it's all about traveling. You know, you can't, this is what life force is, you know, we are creators, just like our creator. Life, we have to constantly be creating with life, participating, taking part in, expanding, growing, moving on, leveling up. That's our nature. It's, you know, and if we're doing it like, you know, holding happiness out there, and then we finally get it, it's like we're exhausted. And we go, oh my God, I finally reached that. Oh, I want to stop now. And somebody goes, well, now you have to level up. And you go, oh my God, I don't want to level up. I'm tired. I've been doing all this work. Yeah, that's because you're not in the flow. But if you're in the flow, then it's like, you know, you're like, oh, this is exciting. This is cool. You know, oh, wow, look at this happening. And then all of a sudden you hit a goal. And you go, oh my God, look at this goal. This is wonderful. Isn't this neat? Now what? Now what? You know, what's my next? How am I going to expand more? You know, where am I going to go now? And I think it's my friend Brian Reed that says that. What's your next? I think he always asks that. What's your next? Now what? You know, we're constantly moving forward. So it's really embracing that next and understanding that that's what we want. It's not look at it like it's a bad thing. You know, it's not a bad thing. It's not, and we don't have to be tired, you know, going, oh, I don't want to keep going. See, if you're feeling like that, like if I'm saying, oh, there's always a next, and the thought process you're getting is, oh, I don't want there always to be a next. I just want to stop. That means you're not in the flow in the way you're doing things. You know, so you have to be in the flow of the way you're doing things. You need to be doing things with happiness and in the flow. And then you're not all depleted and tired when you get there, because you're just opening up to the life force energy that's flowing through you, and you feel more alive. That's why I always feel more. That's why my second podcast is goofier. That's why it has more energy, because the more I do this, the more energized I get, the more life force flows through me. That's why I needed to turn the AC on, because once I start, the energy is flowing through and I get warmer. I get hot. It's all that energy coming through, so, and that's also how I know that I'm doing what I'm supposed to. But that's the energy we're supposed to be going in. It's not exhausting if we're in the flow of it. And it can be fun leveling up. And it's as soon as I realized it, as soon as I stopped, looked back and realized what was happening, but if I would have, as long as I was pushing, I got to get this done. I got to get this done. I got to get this done. Well, I got to finish this course that I'm doing. I have to do that. I have to. As long as I stayed in that, I never would have seen this. I never would have embraced it. I never would have let go what I needed to let go of. And I never would have started embracing what I need to become to level up, So there.
So what now?
What's my next?
Yeah.
In a physical sense, I don't know, which is cool. I don't need to. That's like, I'm okay not knowing. I think I kind of always have been. Well, like since I woke up, I think that's something that I do okay. When I know that I don't know, I'm okay with that. I don't know, and I'm okay with that. It will show itself. Where I have to watch myself is right before this. When I'm caught up in the doing and things aren't working the way I think they should, and I have a tendency to lean in and push harder, and that's where I have difficulty. So once I stop, recognize it, and then I can lean back and go, okay, this is what's happening. What's next? Oh, I don't know. Like, that's exciting to me. I don't know, because as soon as I say I don't know, then all of a sudden, to me, that gives me the energy of my hands are off of it. I'm open to whatever the universe wants for me, and I'm fully participating in its execution and its birth into this world. And that's where I feel good, and that's where I feel excited. If I think I know what I'm supposed to be doing, that's dangerous.
All right. So how can people, like, what are the signs? What are the telltale signs of how people can identify this for themselves, of when it's time to level up and when they're
fatigue. Fatigue is one. When you're feeling tired, when you feel like you're trying to push a square peg into a round hole, when whatever you're doing isn't working, that's the type of stuff that we need to stop and take 30 steps backwards and look at things from a different perspective. Oh, there goes Faith. Those of you on video just saw my dog run by. But yeah, that's, when things aren't working, when you're fatigue, I think is the best one. Frustration, those types of feelings, when you start feeling those things, it's time to stop and hit the brakes and, really gain a different perspective. And I think, that of course, talking it out with a life coach would really be helpful, but something you might be able to do it yourself. So really gain that perspective.
Well, that's awesome. What is it about getting to the new level that is the most difficult?
Getting to the next level, I don't know if there's anything.
Once you're there, or is it fine once you're there? It's the stepping up.
Yeah, I mean, there's a little aspect of getting comfortable with it. You know, your ego wants to kind of come in and usually say things like, "You're not ready for this," or "This isn't you. You can't do this. Who do you think you are?" You know.
Oh, this is something that I just thought of with this. Much like a video game, once you get to that next level and you get comfortable there, you realize it's the same game.
Yeah.
Things are a little different. Your scenery is a little different. You know, the way that you play it might be a little different, but you're in life, you usually have an objective and you still have the way to get the objective, and you're probably going to eventually think that objective is a singular point in time that you're going to get to. You know what I mean? Like, it just kind of everyone is leveled. Like, you literally did it for 13 years in school.
Right. Yeah. It's nothing new. It's just that, and you walk into school on the first day, even if it's the same school and you got even if it's the same kids for the most part in your classes, even if you know most of them, the way the teacher decorated the class is a little different, and the teacher is a little different, and a couple of the kids are different. And
you're different.
Yeah. And that's the biggest part. And you're different. So everything, is a little bit uncomfortable because it's not the norm. So you just need to relax and allow yourself to get used to it. Again, it's being kind to yourself, not being, just relax, allow yourself to, head into just get comfortable where you are. I think you have to kind of gain a little bit, like, I know where I'm going as far as what I need to become and what I need to let go of. I mean, that's kind of obvious. It's like, okay, I'm not going to be pushing as hard. And so I can let go of some of the energies that I used to use to push so hard. And I'm not going, stuff like that. And I'm going to have to be more allowing. I'm going to have to be, not that I think that I struggle with this, but the fame level is expanding. So I have to make sure that I'm like, okay, am I handling that? Like, those are the questions that I'll ask myself. Like, am I handling it okay? If like tons of people all around the world know me and they start, coming at me going, "Oh my God, Glenn, I've listened to you for so long," and come in with that energy. Am I okay? Am I managing that okay now when I feel it? And I can just kind of run a check and be like, yeah, no, that doesn't bother me. I'm good with that. So as it expands, I can continue doing what I'm doing. But if I run a check and I go, "Oh, geez, no, you're not really," I think subconsciously you're very uncomfortable with people recognizing you. Oh, well, I think I need to do something. I might need to put some attention there and adjust how I deal with that a little bit. So that's the type of thing I do. I run like little checks, like as different things come up, I go, "Oh, how do I feel about that?" Okay. So if I picture myself more, with more people recognizing me, with more income, being able to do retreats, all over the world, being able to, like, do I feel comfortable with that, or does that make me feel uncomfortable? And if I find myself feeling uncomfortable, I go, okay, why do you feel uncomfortable about that? What aspect of that makes you feel uncomfortable? And then I can identify it, and then I can shift it. Find a healthier belief system that, or a way of viewing it that I'm comfortable with, and then settle into that. And then that's part of my level up. That's me leveling up. That's me getting used to who I'm going to be at this next level. So that's kind of what it looks like specifically.
Well, that's great stuff. And we are about out of time for today. So if people want to get in touch with you for life coaching, obviously they can do that from anywhere in the world. Go to glennambrose.com, and on that website you can find links to all of the episodes of this podcast. We're coming up on 5 years worth soon of this podcast.
Yeah.
Over a full year now of What's Right with the Worlds, our weekly show where we talk about what is going on good in the world. We recently changed up the format on that, and I really like it. We have a top 3 now every week, and we share good news stories Monday through Friday on Glenn's Facebook page, Glenn Ambrose Life Coaching. There's also the Mindful Mondays blog and so many other things. If you want to see video of this and other cool behind the scenes stuff, check out patreon.com/Glenn Ambrose.
And if you listen to this soon, we're doing the live Q&A on patreon.com. So come on, be a part of that. We'd love to have you.
Yeah.
So I think that's it. Thanks for listening, everybody. And we will talk at you soon.
Glenn is available for life coaching sessions. To book an appointment or for more information, go to glennambrose.com, follow him on Facebook and Twitter, or click the link in the description of this episode.